All right, there you go. Some air supply for you for the last half an hour. What a great way to start your day or your afternoon or your work week or whatever. We're excited here at KQCK Radio, heard exclusively worldwide on KQCK.com. Brian Shank here hanging with you. We're rocking the mic today with Air Supply, and sitting across from me is my good buddy and the CEO of KQCK Radio Station, Mr. Joe Carreiro. Thanks for joining us, Joe.
Oh, absolutely. Very excited. Air Supply, one of my top all-time favorite bands.
Without a doubt. And
so
mine too.
Thank you.
Mine too. And just to give you a quick programming note as well, Air Supply will be in concert this Friday night, June 20th, at the Wild Horse Pass Hotel and Casino. Tickets start at $34. How can you go wrong with that? Break open your piggy bank.
Wow.
Dig behind the sofa cushions, whatever you can get some money together to go check out this show, because Russell Hitchcock and Graham Russell will be having a great time performing for all the great fans, all the great airheads out there in Arizona. You know, I got to say something. Someone once asked me, Brian, what would you do if you had $100 million? Well, I got news for you. My next guest may be better suited to answer the question, what does it feel like to have sold over 100 million albums? His songwriting partner, Russell Hitchcock, and them have toured dozens of countries, performed thousands of concerts, and entertained millions of fans around the world. With smash hits like I'm All Out of Love, Every Woman in the World, and Making Love Out of Nothing at All, Air Supply has become a band synonymous with success and ultimate admiration of their legions of fans worldwide, and they're better known as Airheads. Closing in on 40 years together as a band is truly an admirable accomplishment. So without further ado, please welcome my distinguished left-handed axeman from Nottingham, England, and one half of the supergroup Air Supply. Today, we're rocking the mic with Mr. Graham Russell. Graham, how you doing today, sir?
Very good, sir. How are you? Thank you for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And like I said, we're here with my good buddy across the board here, Mr. Joe Carreiro. He's my CEO. Brian Shank hanging with you here. We're rocking the mic with Graham Russell. And Joe, I know you want to say hi to Graham.
Great to have you on, Graham.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Thank you once again.
All right. You know, Graham, I got to tell you something. We put out the ad here with the fine people that represent you, and everybody from your agency to your Facebook people to your webpage management. Everybody that's there are true professionals and absolute delights to deal with. I mean, they are fantastic. And when I called you the other day, just to confirm the interview, I mean, you were nothing but pleasant and nice and acted like you knew me for 40-plus years. And we appreciate that here. And it's good to know that there's people out there who really want to keep the music alive and keep the people in the public eye of what's happening with one of the greatest groups of all time, and that is Air Supply.
You're very kind. I mean, we always, you know, we've been around for a long time, as you said, but, you know, the people that we work with, we're all like a family, you know, and we all have one common goal. But for us, the fans are everything. You know, they're what put you there in the first place, and we always like to keep them involved, even during our shows. You know, we go in the audience, and the audience become our show. So it's very much a co-headlining thing with Air Supply and the audience every show we do, you know.
You know, I've watched some interviews that you've done on Facebook and also YouTube and whatnot, and you do echo that every time that you talk about your fans being the true people that are keeping you going. And this leads me to a bunch of fans who wrote into us here, and I want to read off some questions because I'm really impressed with all the great Air Supply fans out there, better known as Airheads, so let's call them what they are. This comes from Julie Frecker, and Julie says, I got a question for Graham, the musical genius, she calls you. She says, she's very kind, isn't she?
She's very kind. A little over the top, but
she says, are you ever going to have another concert in Newfoundland, Canada? And also, how do you guys keep up your energy? And one last thing, do you find it annoying when fans tell you and Russell that you still got it? She says, I said this to you guys at a meet and greet, but I meant it as a compliment. So there you go. Julie wants to know those questions.
Well, I'd love to come back to Newfoundland. I don't think we have anything scheduled for the next 3 or 4 months, but I love it up there. I really do. We were there last year, and I'd love to come back. But, you know, once again, I mean, we always, you know, after our shows, we do a meet and greet with the fans, you know, and sometimes it takes an hour and a half.
Right.
But they're the ones that know everything. They're the true heartbeat of Air Supply, because without them, nothing would happen. And they're the ones that have the questions, and some of the questions are really quite relevant, you know. But it's nice to talk to them as just two people having a chat instead of being behind a table signing stuff. You know, we always try to get rid of the barriers and tell them, and they know that we're just normal people like everybody else, just earning a living, and we come from very working class backgrounds, both Russell and myself. So we always feel very fortunate to be where we are, and we don't take any of that for granted. And, you know, the people that make comments, we love them all, you know.
Sure.
If they, nobody has ever said anything derogatory towards us, you know.
That's good.
But we realize, too, that the people that spend their money and come to the shows could go and see a million other shows, but they come for a reason, because they love the music and they like what they hear and what they see. Right. So we respect that very much.
Well, and the other thing, you talked about how you worked hard and you accomplished so many great goals, and you've been successful for 40+ years here. I was reading something about an interview that you gave where you said there was a time where Air Supply was so down and out at times after the first album or so that you were digging into your sofa cushions to find money to buy bread just to make toast and eat on the road. I mean, that's quite a rags to riches story, if that is true.
It was very true, and the great strange fact, which is so true, is when we were in Australia this was after we came back from touring with Rod Stewart for 6 months.
Wow.
And that was a big high note in our career, but we came back to Australia and they'd forgotten all about us, you know. Well, we don't blame them for that. I mean, we'd been gone for 6 months. But we couldn't even afford to go out on the road, because if we rented a PA, it would cost us $200. And we weren't even making that a night in those days. And the funny thing is, we had the #1 single and the #1 album at the time, but we still couldn't go out and make any money. And we were literally starving, you know. Wow. I was living at a friend's place, and Russell was living with his girlfriend. And nobody had any money. And Russell would come over and we'd rehearse, and we would literally lift the cushions off the sofa and find loose change to go out and buy something, buy a loaf of bread to toast it, you know. But the thing is, a band needs to go through those times, and it's what Russell and I call getting in the trenches.
Sure.
And if you don't appreciate the later years. And it's weird, when we look at The Voice and American Idol and those programs like that, which I really enjoy, by the way. You see some people on there, and they think that it's instant fame. You know, mix this powder in a glass of water, and you become famous overnight. But that's not how it works. You've got to learn one's craft, and you've got to learn it and get in the trenches and be destitute, because we're great believers that many are called, but few are chosen. But you've really got to dig deep and get in there and learn everything. You know, when we first, our whole career has been learning, by the way. When we were in Superstar, before, Russell and I met on the first day of Jesus Christ Superstar, and we became really good friends straight away for a few reasons. One reason was we were born 4 days apart, and we had the same name. So that was, and we both loved the Beatles, and we both saw them in 1964, independently of each other.
Wow.
So they were three common bonds that drew us together, and we just became great friends. But in Superstar, I know I did, and I know Russell did too, we learned, because we'd never been in a show before. Russell worked in an office, so we were learning, we watched, and we learned from all the theatre people, and we learned how to perform on stage. And when we got to open for Rod Stewart in 1977, once again we were learning. We watched Rod's show every night from the side of the stage and watched what he did and how he did it and how he controlled an audience and how he took the audience on this curve, this beautiful ride. And we tried to bring those things that we've learned into the Air Supply show all these years later. So you know, we learned from great people, from the best that there were. And, of course, we're still learning, and we hope to pass what we've learned on to other entertainers and other artists, you know.
How cool would that have been in 1977 to see Air Supply and Rod Stewart on the same stage? I wish I could go back into a time machine and just have a front row ticket for probably like, what, $5 or $6 or something back then, and just enjoy that. And if you're just tuning into the show, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Kqck, we are rocking the mic today with Graham Russell from Air Supply. We're having an awesome talk, and it's a pleasure to hear your voice. And you got a great accent, too. Has anybody ever complimented you on your accent? Because you just sound like somebody I could sit and just listen to for like 3 hours reciting like War and Peace or something. You've got a great voice.
You know, it's funny because a lot of people in the US say that. Of course, in England, when we play in England, nobody says anything, and they say that to the Americans, our crew, and we have 4 Americans in the band. They say, "Oh, I love your accent," but here they say it to us. It's funny because I live I live in the middle of nowhere, near mountains, and I like it that way.
Nice.
And in the little hamlet where I live, there's no restaurants, and there's a pizza parlor, but they make great pizza, and they have it gluten free. And I was in there last night, and they know me there, you know. And there was someone in there that had never seen me before, and I ordered my pizza, and she said, "God, I love your accent." She said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from England," you know. So people still say that, and it's kind of a compliment, and it's a good icebreaker. And I always talk to people when they say that, you know.
Well, you must obviously get recognized worldwide, but is it kind of funny? I mean, here's an example. The other day, I was in Las Vegas, and I was there for a wrestling convention, and there was a professional wrestler at a table that I knew quite well, and on either side of the table, they were talking about wrestling, and they had no idea that in the middle of them was one of the greatest NWA champions of all time, and I thought it was quite funny because they were talking about wrestling and everything else, and the whole time, he's just sitting there kind of smiling to himself, and I was looking at him and winking and everything else. Do you ever get in situations or predicaments where people don't know who you are, but they may say, "Oh, I love that concert, I love Air Supply," or whatever else, and little do they know that Graham Russell is standing 2 feet from them?
Yeah, we do now and again, and it's kind of funny. But you know, when Russell and I go out together, people recognize us, but they're very cool about it. You know, I mean, we don't have any security or anybody around us at any time. We'd never do. We used to in the 80s, but not now, because people, it's a different time now, but people don't expect you to be, you know, walking around in Costco with a big shopping cart, you know, which I do frequently. And so if you get in the middle of everybody, nobody really notices, you know.
That's awesome.
But I think, too, you learn to become invisible, and I'm a big believer in this. If you want to become invisible, you can be in the middle of everyone, but if you think nobody's going to see me today, they don't see you, you know.
That's great.
But we always try to be incognito and just blend in with everyone because, you know, we do the same things that everybody else does, you know.
Sure. Well, you go to Costco, you order pizza, stuff like that. I mean, that's pretty much what it's all about. And, you know, you talked about having security back in the 80s. You definitely needed it because 8 top 10 hits in the 80s. You were on Solid Gold and all the great shows and whatnot. And I had to do a little research because I remember as a kid, I'm 43, so I know the 80s. I mean, that was my decade. I loved it. And I remember around 1982, I was 11 years old. A buddy of mine down the road, his name was Joe Bailey. And I used to always go over to his house. We played football on the curb there and everything, and we always played football. Afterwards, we'd go into his house and we'd hang out and drink some, you know, sodas and watch TV and MTV and stuff when it was cool. And I'll never forget his sister. I can't remember her name, but Graham, I swear to you, as I'm standing here, she had a 45 record of All Out of Love. Okay, All Out of Love on a 45, and she had a record player. You know, just little 2 speakers. 82, of course, we had records, and she played this thing. It was on an automatic restart, so it would go la la la, stop. I'm lying alone with my head on the phone, and it would play. I'm not kidding you. She played this thing from the moment she got up to the moment she went to bed. I swear to God. I mean, it was non-stop. I learned All Out of Love at 11 years of age because of my friend Joe Bailey's sister. I mean, it was unreal. That's the kind of fans you have out there. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we've been very lucky. We've had so much good luck in our career, and I think that, especially in Australia, I think there were a lot of musicians and bands that thought that they probably deserved the success that we had, especially in our early years, you know. But I mean, nothing we did was by design. We kind of leave it up to the universe most of the time. I mean, we write the songs and we make the albums, but it's always a crapshoot whether you're going to find success or not, you know. But we've been very lucky. We were lucky to get in Superstar, to work with Rod, then do all the TV shows and everything that we've done, to hook up with Clive Davis in 1980. And we didn't even know who Clive was, you know. But we soon found out. So we've had a lot of luck, you know.
Nice.
But I think, too, we've worked really hard over all these years, and we've tried to stay out of the spotlight. You know, we always have led a low-profile existence, and I think to some degree that's been to our detriment, because we were never in the magazines, and we never went to all the parties when we had the #1, this, that, and the other. We just kind of preferred to lay low, or we went back to Australia. But we just worked hard all the time, trying to become better at what we did, and we still do. You know, I want to still write the perfect song, and Russell wants to still sing the perfect song, you know.
Well, I think you wrote the perfect songs many times over. I mean, we just talked about 8 top 10 hits in the 80s and endless supplies of music here. It's amazing when you go into an Air Supply catalog how much great music there is. And I want to go back to some of the emails here, Graham, because like I said, there's tons of airheads out there who have written into us, and I want to make sure I get as many as I can. It's my duty. It's my duty here on Kqck.com. So Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania is where we're going to next, and her name is Stephanie, and she said, I have several questions for Graham. She says, number one, if you could give an update on what is going on with all the musicals that you've been involved with. She says, I think there was 3 of them, Lost in Love, All Out of Love, and Treasure Island. She also says, could you please tell us about the new guitar Telecaster guitar that you're using in the Union with the Union Jack on it? He She says, did his bass player Johnny build it, and ask him if he's willing to trade me one of the cool guitar picks that go with the guitar in exchange for his birthday present we gave him over the weekend. So there you go.
Well, at the beginning of this year, we were in rehearsal in California, and the guys pulled me into this room, which was very strange, and I thought, oh, somebody's going to resign or somebody's leaving. And then Johnny pulled out this beautiful brand new Telecaster, which he'd had built because he knew my specifications, because I play guitar upside down, you know.
Yes.
And they gave it to me from the band and the crew, which I thought, for no reason, and I thought it was a lovely gesture, and it had the Union Jack all over it. And so that's the one I'm playing at the moment. But I love the sound of it, and so that's how I got that. But it was a complete surprise. As far as the musicals go, the last 2 years have been very successful as far as me getting musicals ready to go. I have 3 in the pipeline. One is Treasure Island, which I'm really excited about because it's a family show.
Cool.
One is All Out of Love, which is in Australia. It's not opened yet, but it's getting ready to.
Nice.
And then there's another one called Dance With Me, which is heading to China by the end of this year. And that's completely a dance show. So I have 3 different shows, and they're totally different, but it's exciting for us to have something like that. And I think it's a good time in our career to branch out a little and to let the music flow into other areas, you know.
Well, and it keeps you busy, obviously, which I know you're busy because you guys are touring nonstop right now. You've got some shows this week coming up here on Friday night, and I just talked about this earlier at the Wild Horse Pass Casino. It's a great place to be. I know you've been there before. I saw I saw the signatures on the black wall in the back with the silver Sharpie and everything. And
yeah, I remember that.
Oh yeah, it's a great time. Friday night, June 20th. That's this Friday night, 8 p.m. here out on the West Coast. Yeah, tickets start only $34, so get on out there. I can pretty much guarantee you all those tickets are probably gone. And if you're lucky enough to get a ticket as of today, Tuesday, June 17th, I'd be surprised because Air Supply, you guys don't have a lot of empty seats out there, and that's fantastic. And I want to say one more thing here from some of our emails. Actually, we got a few more emails. So I want to get to them as much as we can here because I love the people that support you guys. I think it's tremendous. Jenny Burke from Orem, Utah. She wrote in and says, what's your favorite Air Supply album?
My favorite Air Supply album... well, I have 2. Of course, I love the Greatest Hits. I think it's a great record, and I'm very proud of it, and I think it'll be around for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
But I also love the Life Support album, which I don't think was released in the U.S. It was one of our Australian albums, and it was the album that had the original Lost in Love on. In 1978.
Yep.
And it was a great record, and it did very well for us. It was in the top 10 in Australia. Never got released here, but I always loved it. It had a beautiful theme and a beautiful sound running through it. And, of course, it had Lost in Love, which became a big hit from it.
Sure.
But that's one of my favorite albums. It always has been.
Another great song on there, Just Another Woman. That I think was re-released on wasn't it on Lost in Love? I think didn't that get re-released on another album?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. See, I did my homework.
They pulled a couple of tracks from that album on the Lost in Love album.
There you go. See, these are the fans that love you out there, and Russell as well out there and everything. So these are great. These are great questions. I got some more here. Tara writes in and says, "Can you ask Graham if they'll be coming out with a new album anytime soon?" And she also says, "Do they still do meet and greets?" Which we just talked about that earlier in the interview, that you still do, and you love talking to the fans and being very personal with them instead of behind a desk signing pictures and whatnot. So I guess the question is, are you coming out with a new album anytime soon, Graham?
Well, we had Mumbo Jumbo 3 years ago, which did very well for us, especially overseas, funnily enough. But at the moment, you know, we put Desert Sea Sky out about 6 months ago, which became a Billboard hit for us. So right now, we're just concentrating on releasing tracks, because I think that's what people are doing these days, and we kind of want to stay current with everything. We will make an album, a new album, but we don't have any plans to do it at the moment. We have, you know, Desert Sea Sky has completed its run right now. We have a new single coming out at the end of August, which is called I Want You, which is fabulous, and it's another dance song, but it's a little different. So we're kind of enjoying that dance thing right now, not because we're finding success. I've always loved dance music for years, and it wasn't until recently when I thought it was okay for us to do it, you know, because we have nothing to lose. But I think I'm a big believer in, if you do something and put everything into it, put all your heart and soul and passion into it, you're going to find success, because it has everything that you're about in the track and in the song. So that's what we're doing at the moment.
You know, and the thing is, too, is that there's so many things going on with you right now in regards to touring and playing the songs that people love. And I know that when you see a concert on YouTube of Air Supply, it's just incredible how the fans just know every single word to it. And it's also very nice to see a band like yourselves, who have been out there for 40 years and still doing this well into your 50s. And the people who come to watch you guys, and the sound that you guys have out there with just the great melodies. Mr. Kqck still hits the notes. I mean, it's great, because I remember watching a performance back in, I think it was in March or something of this year, and when it came up to singing Every Woman in the World to Me, I mean, just the lighters went up, the women were just holding on to their guys, and the guys went on to their women. I mean, it's a lot of women at an Air Supply concert, which is not a bad thing.
There's a lot of ladies, and there always has been. But you know, nowadays there's a lot of guys there too.
Oh, yeah.
And the guys are really coming to the fold with and without their spouses. And we get also a lot of men that you wouldn't think. A lot of guys with a lot of tattoos, long hair, leather jackets, and all that stuff. And when we first come out on stage and they're in the audience, I go, oh, wow, that's really cool. Yeah. And the guys, they put up the peace sign and they put their hand up in recognition. And it's great. I get that feeling. I say, hey, we're reaching another audience now. And these guys who are tough guys are really enjoying the music, and that's really cool.
Everybody has a soft side, and I think that a lot of people have. You know, here's what I was telling my buddy the other day. I said, you know, I can sit here and listen to Metallica, Kill 'Em All, and I can go right into Lost in Love. I mean, I'm not kidding you. I could just put my iPod on shuffle and listen to everything. I can go right in from that, then I can go to the Beatles song, then I can go into like something like AC/DC or whatever. And Joe, I know you're the same way over here.
You know, I have to tell you, we have a radio station in Costa Rica as well, and whenever I go out there to Costa Rica, that is a huge, Air Supply is a huge favorite in the bars, you know, up and down the coast. You know, Air Supply is loved in Costa Rica, and I love Air Supply. I mean, you guys have always been one of my favorites, so right on.
Thank you. Yeah, you're right. I mean, we've been to Costa Rica many times, especially Central America and South America. There's a lot of airheads there. It's very cool.
I want to go back to the emails here, Graham, because like I said, there's so many fans out there who love you, and I want to make sure I get as many emails as I can read.
Okay.
Julie is writing in, and I think she's from Toronto. Let's see. I'm going to go back to where she's from, but she says, Dear Graham, I just wanted to say how much I've enjoyed seeing your last 6 shows when you played near Toronto and Niagara Falls. Wow. I was lucky enough one year to receive your guitar pick at the end, and also you were kind enough to have some drinks at the bar and talk for a while. She says, I just wanted to let you know how much joy and happiness your music brings to so many people. I saw you in February, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again return here in August. Thank you for the memories you've created throughout your music, and that's from Julie.
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, we do a lot of shows up in Canada, of course, and we are coming back to, I think we're doing Niagara Falls again in August. But that's nice. I mean, you know, if we can, and we don't have an early morning flight, which we often do, we always come and hang out and talk to people, and it's great. You get to hear what they're all about and what their life is all about, and they're the things that's all the information. Well, for me certainly, to create the songs, because the songs are all about everyday life and people, and that's where I get all that information from. And it's nice to hear other people's about other people's lives and their story and what they do every day, you know.
Well, and the thing is, too, is I see a lot of people who may do meet and greets or hang with some of the fans after the show, and I've even been one of those fans at some of these bands, one of these fans with these bands, say that 5 times fast, who will sit there and they'll watch the people talk to them, and you can just kind of tell that a lot of them just don't even really want to be there. They're going through the motions. They're like, okay, I know you love that song. Great. Okay, I got to get out of here and go drink some vodka or something. And I know with Air Supply, all I've been reading on these emails here, and I can't get to every single one of them, but all I've been reading is that how true you are to these fans. And I think what people really need to understand is it's an old school thought and a philosophy that without the people out there who bought your records, who went to your shows, who paid to see anything and everything that they could with Air Supply, without them, you wouldn't be where you are today, living comfortably and obviously making a wonderful living and producing and singing the songs that have made the Airheads what they are today as well. It works both ways because I know you give back just as much as you do receive, so that's great.
Yeah, I mean, we try to. We don't let our careers run away with us. You know, we think about it all the time. I know I do, and I know Russell does. Sometimes I sit down on my balcony with a cup of tea, and I think, God, what a great life I've got. You know, for 40 years I've been able to do what I love and create music and play music around the world. It doesn't get any better than that. You know, it really doesn't. And I've been so lucky. And I think about, my friends at school back in England, and most of them are retired now. And I think, wow, I didn't have to go and work in a factory, although I have done it when times were lean, but I didn't have to spend my life in a factory or doing something I really wasn't cut out to do. And so I've been very lucky to be able to do this and earn a living creating something out of nothing, like writing songs and performing, which I just love so much. And, sometimes we complain if we have, often we have flights at 4 or 5 in the morning after a show.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if we're in Mexico or even South America, we don't get a chance to do anything. We finish the show around 11, and then we're traveling again at 2 in the morning. Maybe we have a 2-hour drive, then we've got to fly somewhere. And, we complain, go, God, I don't want any more of these flights. But you know what? It's all good. It's all part of it. Yeah. And if we worked in an office doing something that we weren't cut out to do, it would be torture for us, But at least what we do, we love. Even in the low times when you don't get any sleep and the food's terrible on a plane or something, But, hey, you suck it all up and you go with it, and that's what it's all about,
If that food is terrible on the plane, Graham, I suggest you stock up on that pizza place around the corner from your house and bring that with you so you got some good food.
Yeah, I try not to eat on planes because, I don't eat meat, so I end up eating a lot of peanuts on planes.
Well, peanuts are in the meat group, if you look at it specifically. That is true. It is true. It is in the meat group, so I don't know if that makes...
they're full of protein, yeah.
That's true. Okay, Graham, before we go, and I just want to say, first of all, we really, really appreciate your time today. You're a true gentleman and a wonderful person and a great, successful artist, and we've grown up listening to you, and still to this day, we're very ecstatic that we can still listen to Air Supply, go to concerts, check things out, and really enjoy your music. So I, first of all, want to say that, and on behalf
you're very kind. Thank you.
On behalf of Joe and myself. Now, what I do with every interview here, and it's really quick, is I do 5 quick questions with Brian. And these questions are very quick, and what I want you to do is give me the first thing that pops into your head, like instantaneous. It's like we're at a psychiatrist's office, and I'm holding up an ink blot. But this time I'm holding up a question to myself, and I'm going to ask you it, and the first thing that comes to your mind, please blurt it out for your answer, okay?
Okay.
Okay, here we go. If I was able to have 5 minutes with somebody, living or dead, that person would be?
Paul McCartney.
Ah, I like it. I would say Paul McCartney too. That's a good one. Yeah. Okay. There's one song that I wish I wrote, and that one is
Imagine.
Ah, another great song.
Wow.
Imagine all the
Fantastic.
people. I would love to hear Graham sing Imagine. Can you give me just like one bar of Imagine, if you wouldn't mind? Would you do that for us?
Me? Sure.
Yes. Okay.
Imagine there's no country, no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us only sky. There you go.
I love it. I gave him a hand on that one.
On.
That was awesome. I would like for you to sing that in concert someday. That would be awesome. I mean, I know fans would just love that, obviously, but
you know they would, wouldn't they? I've never thought about that.
well, I'll tell you what. If you do it, you got to give props to Brian Shank here from Rockin' the Mic. Okay, please just say, my good buddy, if I can. My good buddy Brian Shank told me to go ahead and sing this, if I may, and I'd like for you to go ahead and do it and just dedicate it to everybody out there. So. That's awesome. Okay, here we go. The song that I love to sing the most in our set is
All Out of Love.
Is it because it's just the most recognizable, or is it the easiest to sing? I know it's like, what, 4 or 5 chords, if I'm not mistaken, or?
Yeah, most of my songs are only 4 or 5 chords. You know, I love to sing it because it means so much to people around the world.
Nice.
I know they wait for it, and I just love that moment when they go, oh God, it's coming, here it is. You know, I mean, they feel that way about a lot of the songs, but All Out of Love for me is the ultimate one. You know, it's been in so many movies, it's done so well as a song, you know, that I just love to play it, and I think it'll be that way for a long time.
Well, it's kind of like Stairway to Heaven for Led Zeppelin or Sweet Home Alabama for Leonard Skinner. I mean, it is your song.
Yeah.
It's your signature song. There's no doubt about that. So
yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay, we got 2 more.
You know, funnily enough, if I may,
yes,
I'm a big Jon Stewart fan. I watch Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert every night, and when I'm away, I record it, so when I come home, I have like 10 or 12 of them to watch. And I was watching it, I watched it because I'm home, I watched it live last night.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, All Out of Love pops up on the show. And I went, whoa! So that's another example of it.
Yeah, Graham said, do you have my royalties for that song, Mr. Stewart? No, just kidding. I know. That's a great tribute, obviously.
Have to pay. I don't know how much they have to pay, yeah.
They got to pay, baby. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, it's business first, right? You know what I'm saying? So, okay. All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
2 more questions for you here. If I was going to the electric chair for a crime that I committed and I had to have one last meal, I would ask the warden to bring me
a hot Indian curry.
Ooh. Wow, you like curry.
I love Indian food.
Yeah? What?
Yeah, I do.
I've tried some of that curry. You know, I mix it in with soup sometimes and whatever. And if you put too much of that in there, man, you better find a fire department nearby, because I'll tell you what, that stuff is warm, man. Woohoo! Yeah,
I make my own curries too, and they're on fire. I just love hot food, you know.
Now, wait a second. You know, Joe Perry from Aerosmith and Michael Anthony from Van Halen and everything, they all have their hot sauces that they put out there. I'm thinking maybe Graham Russell should have a curry line out there somewhere. What do you think, Joe?
You know, I've thought about that. I really have, because there are several people, and I know Joe Perry loves hot food, and Tony Iommi out of Black Sabbath is a big curry guy too. I think all these people from the north of England love Indian food, but I know Tony loves hot food too. I've thought about that, putting my own curry line out. I really have.
Oh, I mean, you got all this free time. I don't know why you don't. I mean, you know, sorry.
You better watch out, though. Brian's going to try to take credit for all these things.
I'm going to take credit for the curry, for him singing Imagine on stage. Right. No, I would never do that.
That's funny.
But I tell you what, if you do release that, I will definitely get some of that and buy it. I would love to try that out.
Wouldn't we all?
Yes,
right on.
Yeah. Okay, last.
Yeah, it would be good, yeah. My curries are really good too.
Nice. I like curry. It is good. You just got to be careful with it, though, because too much is, wow, watch out. All right, here we go. Last question for you, Graham. The weirdest item or thing that I ever signed for a fan was?
A sneaker.
A shoe.
Yeah, somebody took their shoe up and gave it to us to sign. It was like, whoa, you know.
Can you please take the odor eater out first, please, if you wouldn't mind?
Great.
Yeah.
You know, Graham, the other thing is, too, I see a lot of people nowadays, especially kids, when they go to, like, you know, concerts or wrestling matches or whatever, and they meet the people, they ask them to sign their faces. Have you ever had anybody ask you to sign their bodies, like their faces or their arms and stuff like that? I mean...
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather not, you know, because I don't think it's usually a felt tip pen. If that gets on your skin, who knows what could happen, you know, because it's poisonous.
Right.
I mean, if you sniff it, you're going to get high. So if you're put it on your skin, something's going to happen. So I prefer not to do that. I say, no, you don't want me to do that, you know.
Yeah, Joe across the board from me here knows about sniffing pens. So, no.
Oh, yeah, right, Brian.
Just having some fun with them there. So, listen, Graham, I got to tell you, it's been a true honor and a pleasure here to sit with you for the last 35 minutes or so. And it was great hearing what you had to say because you're so fluent and articulate with what you have to say. And I think when you do that and you speak that well, that means it's coming from the heart. And I think that everything you said today about your fans, about your passion for the music industry, about what you're doing with your musicals and everything out there in your career for almost 40 years now. In 2015, it'll be 40 years. That means a lot. And I know a lot of the airheads out there who are waiting to hear this interview and posting on Facebook and everything else and sending us emails. I know it's a tremendous following you have. And I'll tell you what, if I had the fan following like Air Supply did, I know that I'd be sitting back in my home and just smiling every day and being thankful like I know that you do each and every day.
I really do, and you know, I don't think anyone should ever forget why you're where you are and how you got there. You know, we never forget that.
Really, you know what? I just want to add one more thing to say to you from Air Supply, from me personally. I've always believed, and this is going back just a little bit. I've always believed that you are rich and you do not have to work when you are doing what you like. Yeah. And you know what? You have just only confirmed that to me again because I've always been self-employed. And I'll tell you what, I couldn't agree more, and I'm so happy for you guys that you've done this for 40-plus years.
And still doing it.
Yeah, and just love what you do. It's so refreshing, and it just makes me so motivated to go out there and hit some new projects and do what I do.
That's what it's all about.
Right.
And I get inspired, too, when people say that. So it becomes this, it's like a snowball rolling downhill. It just collects snow and gets bigger and bigger and becomes more inspiring. I think that's what life is all about. I really do.
Without a doubt. I'll tell you what, Graham, listen, if you may, just if I can put you on hold for just 1 second here, I'm just going to go ahead and end the show real quick. I want to talk to you off the air just for a couple seconds, if I may.
Sure, yeah.
And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and plug this one more time. This Friday night, ladies and gentlemen, June 20th, 8 p.m. out here on the West Coast, Wild Horse Pass Casino and Hotel, Air Supply coming to you, playing all the hits, maybe even Imagine, you never know, we'll see. But all the great stuff out there, go check it out, get tickets. You can go to winhelariver.com, go to the box office, it's right there in the front by the big fountains, you can't miss it. Go get your tickets if you're lucky enough to get tickets, that is. We're running late here, and I know that Air Supply obviously sells out wherever they go. So again, go check out the show this Friday, check out all the great stuff on the Facebook pages, on their official sites, it's all there, get involved. Thank you to all the airheads out there who wrote in, and again, Mr. Graham Russell, thank you so much as well, sir.
Thank you, guys. It's been a pleasure. It's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate the time.
You're welcome. Sounds good. Just hang out 1 second off the air.
Thank you so much for coming on.
We'll be right back. Hold on 1 second. Thank you, Graham. All right, there you go. Mr. Graham Russell from Air Supply. That's been our show here. We were rocking the mic in style. Joe C. across the board here. Thank you for joining in with us today. And I just want to say thank you to all the airheads out there. I also want to thank everybody who helped make this possible, like Christine and Steve and everybody else who are just wonderful in making this all happen. So God bless everybody. Thanks for listening. And don't forget, we will have this show up and archived on the Facebook page later today on the official Air Supply Facebook page. So again, everybody, thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time. And remember, we're always here at Kqck.com for your listening pleasure. And thank you once again for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.